emissions from the nuclear power plants whatsoever. So it gets a little tiring in this body as a Republican to constantly hear the virtue signaling of how climate change is an existential threat, but you really don't want to solve the problem. We've solved the problem in Calvert County, and we're willing to solve the entire problem. Let us do it. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Chairman of the committee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I just feel like at some points we get caught up in this tornado of misinformation. And that's kind of where we are now. Let's to be clear, I mean, every time we talk about the environment, we get this argument, hey, do nothing. It's almost like, should we go back to wood-burning stoves and coal? Is that where it's at? I mean, the point about the future is moving forward. So we're arguing that, well, there are some downsides to wind turbines. They block the skyline. Well, I've been to Ocean City, and where my buddy's apartment is, he can't see the skyline because of these beautiful hotels y'all built. I don't know what that skyline is, but I do understand that the goal was to put them 11 miles out. We talk about Morgantown and coal. Yeah, natural gas priced out coal. That's why the coal plant in my town stopped. We can't pretend that the future is coal. We can't pretend that the future is gas. We know where the future lies. Are we going to invest in it? And when we talk about nuclear, I mean, we worked on this bill last year, the Climate Solutions Now, to put that in for the next 40 years, including small modular nuclear facilities. They're not going to be as large as Calvert Cliffs, but they will be dependable, and they will be hopefully that go-between because it is a non-emitting energy source. Please don't say we're not doing these things because we are. But we're also doing windmills. We're also promoting solar. We're going to cover all of the bases. But what we're not going to do is step backward into the old days of burning coal. Okay, yeah, we don't have a lot of it. We don't have a lot of these resources, these natural resources. So we have to move forward. It's just every time we talk about the environment, we get all this, no, do nothing. Stop it. Stop thinking, let's just go back to what my grandparents did. Well, some of us don't call that the good old days anyway, because it wasn't. But more importantly, we've got to move forward. This is what our body does. We look, we lay it all out and say, this is the path. If you don't believe solar is advanced, some of those folks, like the chair of E&T, remember the solar watches and the solar calculators. The moment you covered them up, what happened? They shut off. Look where we are now. Look at how far we've gone from an Apple E2 and the 486 computers to where we are now. You can carry one of those on your wrist. Investing in technology is the only way to advance technology. We are investing in this technology. The complaints that you brought up will be addressed because we're going to invest in that. The NEPA study will look at everything that we were arguing on this floor about protecting wildlife, but what we will not do is stand still. Roosevelt said that the best thing you can do is the right thing. The second best thing you can do is the wrong thing, but the worst thing you can do is nothing. Let's not do nothing. Please support this bill.
Gentleman from St. Mary's.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That was a great speech. I don't think any of us asked about coal. That's not in the bill. The bill deals with wind turbines. Could the floor leader rise for a couple questions?
Floor leader.
Yeah, I'm under the impression, and I saw a news article that these wind towers are 945 feet tall. Is that correct?
It depends on the make and the model. Some are, yep.
I mean, that's pretty tall. That's like twice the amount of distance that you can, have a daycare from your marijuana facility.
Okay.
So it's pretty tall. What is the disturbance of having a tower built in the ocean? What is the disturbance in the foundation that is required to build a 945-foot tower?
I'm not sure that I understand. What do you mean the disturbance of?
How big is the footer on the bottom of the ocean to build a 945-foot tower?
We can find that out for you.
Because that's 945 feet above the water, correct?
That's correct.
So how many towers are they planning on building out there?
Probably several hundred to get to 8.5 gigawatts.
So we're talking literally miles upon miles of ocean floor disturbance.
It would be between 10 miles and about 80 miles out from the shore. So if you can picture between 10 miles and 80 miles. So within
Well, you're
that,
talking about the distance of the
within the
actual
se-
windmills. I'm talking about the amount of disturbance.
I understand what you're saying. But within across the 70 miles is the space in which that would be happening.
I know thank you for answering the question.
Yeah, it's significantly less than an oil platform is the bottom line. The amount of disturbance on the
Per
ocean
tower?
for all of that.
Okay. I mean, we don't have any oil platforms off the coast of Ocean City.
Thank God, but there are oil platforms up and down the coast.
Much less a few hundred. So thank you for answering those questions. Madam Speaker, I know we talked a lot about dead whales and dolphins. This is one of the most fertile grounds for fisheries in the United States, maybe in the world. And we have no idea what we're about to take into this. This is a lot of smoke and mirrors. There's other ways to get more efficient energy sources. My friend from Calvert County just mentioned a few. So look, instead of talking about coal and talking about the technology of the week, the one where all the I was going to say something. Yeah, where they're at, it would make much more sense if we study this problem and vote red on this bill. Thank you.
Is there any further debate?
Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker,
One quick question from the floor leader, please.